Some machines are born from purpose, others become legends by accident. Every so often, one design captures the edge between ambition and restraint, showing how engineering genius can outlast its own era. It is not about speed alone, it is about vision, timing, and a bit of fate. Imagine a car so rare that even the company that built it guarded it like a secret. A vehicle that defined mechanical perfection, then vanished into myth for decades. When it finally resurfaced, it did not just set a record, it rewrote what value means in the automotive world. Today, we are diving into the story of how that happened, why it mattered, and what it reveals about the pursuit of excellence itself. Like and subscribe if you enjoy deep dives into automotive history, and tell us in the comments which machine you want to explore next. The story of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 begins in the tense but optimistic years following World War II. Europe was rebuilding, and Mercedes sought not just recovery but redemption. The company had been absent from racing for over a decade. When it returned, it did so with an intensity that stunned the motorsport world. The 300 SLR project was conceived to showcase the company's engineering might, blending advanced aerodynamics, lightweight construction, and an engine derived from Grand Prix technology. Within its sleek aluminum body lay a 3.0-liter straight-eight engine, a masterpiece that could propel the car to nearly 180 miles per hour on public roads, an astonishing feat for 1955. The design language of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe borrowed heavily from its racing sibling, the open-top 300 SLR, which dominated endurance races until tragedy struck at Le Mans that same year. The horrific accident during that race forced Mercedes to withdraw entirely from motorsport, and the company's ambitious racing program came to an abrupt stop. Two closed-roof prototypes, which had been intended to test long-distance capability and comfort, were suddenly rendered obsolete. Yet those two cars would become something far greater than their original purpose. Rudolf Uhlenhaut, the chief engineer behind the project, had a reputation for perfectionism and unshakable commitment to performance. He often tested cars himself, and in a moment that would shape automotive lore, he decided to keep one of the 300 SLR coupes as his personal company car. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 was not meant to be a luxury cruiser, yet in his hands it became a road-going experiment in engineering purity. Its gull-wing doors, a direct result of its high tubular chassis frame, gave it an identity instantly recognizable even to those unfamiliar with racing. The cabin was both elegant and functional, with a Spartan focus on driving precision rather than comfort. Under its hood, the straight-eight engine required a complex desmodromic valve system, allowing higher revs and greater efficiency than conventional setups of the time. This level of mechanical sophistication was unheard of in road cars. Every piece of metal, every component of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 spoke to the idea that no compromise was acceptable. The chassis, derived from the W196 Formula One car, weighed only 110 pounds. The entire car tipped the scales at about 2,500 pounds. Even so, it maintained the stability of a Grand Tourer and the reflexes of a purebred racer. Drivers who witnessed Uhlenhaut driving it recalled its ferocity, its roar echoing through the streets near the Mercedes factory in Stuttgart. To him, this was not indulgence, it was a continuation of research. Even as Mercedes officially distanced itself from racing, the Uhlenhaut Coupe carried the spirit of speed into the future. Over the next few years, the two prototypes were carefully preserved. They were not sold, not displayed publicly, and not replicated. Unlike production cars or even race cars that find their way into private collections, these machines remained part of the company's hidden heritage. Engineers occasionally referenced them when developing new models. The lessons learned from the 300 SLR's design quietly influenced generations of Mercedes road cars, from the 300 SL Gullwing to later sports coupes. But to the public, they were ghost cars, rumored, occasionally photographed, rarely explained. What made the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 truly extraordinary was not only its technical brilliance but its untouchable status. It represented a frozen moment in history, a machine born at the intersection of progress and pause. While others continued racing, Mercedes withdrew to focus on safety, research, and precision engineering. That decision marked a turning point not just for the company but for the philosophy of performance itself. The car was both a symbol of what could be achieved and a reminder of the limits of ambition. For decades, those two Uhlenhaut coupes remained carefully maintained by Mercedes, rarely driven, often discussed in whispers among enthusiasts and historians. They were the rarest of all automotive artifacts, machines too valuable to race, too powerful to forget, and too symbolic to sell. Yet time has a way of reshaping even the most guarded treasures. As the legend of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 grew, so did curiosity about its legacy. Could a car designed for racing, silenced by tragedy, and hidden by its creator ever re-emerge into the light? That question would drive the next chapter in its remarkable journey, as we uncover how engineering genius turned myth into measurable worth. To understand how the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 became the most valuable car ever sold, we need to explore the unique combination of engineering heritage, scarcity, and moral weight that surrounded it. Mercedes-Benz had built just two examples, both identical in structure and performance, but their significance lay beyond numbers. They represented a peak of analog craftsmanship, a time when precision machining was achieved by hand, not computer. In the 1950s, Mercedes engineers were inventing the future under immense pressure, competition was fierce, and national pride was on the line. The 300 SLR was the product of that environment, created to win but halted by conscience. When Mercedes withdrew from racing after the Le Mans tragedy, it marked the end of an era where speed and danger shared the same track. The company redirected its focus towards safety and road-going innovation, setting a tone for decades to come. Yet in the silence of that retreat, the two Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupes 1955 stood as reminders of unfinished business. One was preserved for testing, the other became Uhlenhaut's personal car. He drove it frequently, reportedly covering hundreds of miles on German autobahns at speeds that no contemporary car could match. In that era, the image of an engineer commuting in a car capable of 180 miles per hour seemed both surreal and defiant. To many within Mercedes, it symbolized the balance between progress and restraint, a car too advanced for its own time. Over the next several decades, as automotive technology evolved, the mystique around the 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe deepened. It was often discussed in engineering circles as the missing link between the 300 SL Gullwing and the later road cars that bore the SL designation. Its mechanical architecture became a reference point for Mercedes' performance divisions. The car embodied an ethos, precision before excess, intelligence before spectacle. It was never a marketing tool, never a product, simply a masterpiece kept alive through careful preservation. Inside Mercedes' private collection, both cars were maintained in running condition, stored under exacting conditions, and shown only on special occasions to select audiences. To the broader public, the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 remained a mystery. Images existed, stories circulated, but few had ever stood near one, much less seen it run. The company understood its power as a symbol. The car was not a commodity but a cultural asset. In a world where collector values soared and rare machines traded hands for tens of millions, Mercedes maintained a policy of non-sale. These cars were part of its heritage, as inseparable from the brand as its star emblem. However, by the early 2020s, Mercedes faced a new era of transformation. The automotive landscape was shifting toward electrification, sustainability, and the redefinition of luxury. It was during this time that the company made a decision that would stun both collectors and historians, to sell one of the two Uhlenhaut coupes. The move was not taken lightly. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 was priceless in every practical sense, assigning a value to it risked reducing its myth to a transaction. Yet the company found a purpose worthy of its symbolism. The proceeds would fund a global scholarship initiative focused on environmental and engineering innovation, effectively turning a symbol of past performance into a catalyst for future progress. The sale was handled privately, with utmost discretion, and in 2022, one of the two cars changed hands for $143 million. This single event redefined the concept of automotive value. The figure was not just a record, it was a statement. It positioned the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 above all other collector cars, ahead of icons from any rival manufacturer. The price reflected more than beauty or performance, it reflected meaning. The buyer, whose identity remained confidential, became the caretaker of a cultural artifact rather than a possession. The remaining coupe stayed in the Mercedes collection, ensuring that the legacy would never be fully privatized. The reaction across the automotive world was electric. Historians, journalists, and engineers revisited the story of the Uhlenhaut Coupe, analyzing what made it uniquely irreplaceable. It was not merely the rarity or engineering, but the philosophy it represented. Built at the height of analog craftsmanship, silenced by ethical necessity, and later used to advance education, the car's story formed a perfect circle of innovation and responsibility. In a sense, the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 transcended its mechanical nature. It became a bridge between eras, from the fuel-soaked ambition of the 1950s to the clean, conscious innovation of the 21st century. Each rivet, curve, and cylinder told a story of transition, from speed to safety, from secrecy to legacy, from private ambition to public benefit. As Mercedes moved toward electrified performance and digital luxury, the memory of the Uhlenhaut Coupe reminded the brand, and the world, that progress must always have a conscience. Its $143 million sale was less a conclusion than an inflection point, a moment that asked how far human ingenuity can go without losing its humanity. And that question leads us to the final part of this journey: what lasting impact the 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe left on design, culture, and the very idea of perfection. The legacy of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 stretches far beyond its physical form. It represents the moment when the pursuit of engineering excellence intersected with human responsibility. Decades after its creation, the car remains a study in how ambition can evolve without losing integrity. Every modern performance car from Mercedes carries some trace of the 300 SLR's DNA, from its meticulous aerodynamics to its balance between comfort and capability. The design principles that defined the Uhlenhaut Coupe shaped an entire lineage. Its aluminum body inspired lighter, stronger chassis materials. Its aerodynamic silhouette influenced the curves of later Grand Tourers. Even its gull-wing doors, originally a necessity due to the high sills of its tubular frame, became a lasting visual signature. Engineers who studied the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 describe it as the perfect expression of functional beauty. There was nothing decorative for its own sake. Every vent, every panel, every proportion existed for a reason. That disciplined minimalism continues to guide Mercedes' design philosophy. In a world increasingly driven by software and digital interfaces, the Uhlenhaut Coupe stands as a reminder that the soul of performance lies in mechanical purity and the tactile connection between driver and machine. Beyond design, its legacy also influenced how the brand approached ethics in engineering. The decision to withdraw from racing in 1955 reshaped corporate priorities, placing safety and innovation above competition. That culture shift gave rise to seatbelt systems, crumple zones, and other safety advances that saved countless lives over the following decades. In that sense, the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 symbolizes not only the height of performance but also the beginning of a moral evolution in automotive design. Few cars embody both power and restraint with such clarity. Over the years, the Uhlenhaut Coupe became a touchstone for what defines greatness in automotive history. It was never about how fast it could go, though its top speed exceeded 170 miles per hour when few cars could reach 120. It was about how far engineering imagination could stretch before the world caught up. The 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe proved that performance could coexist with responsibility, that technology could aspire to artistry, and that even a prototype could carry emotional weight for generations. Today, as the automotive world pivots toward electric propulsion and digital ecosystems, the lessons of the Uhlenhaut Coupe are more relevant than ever. The car teaches that innovation must serve a purpose. It must connect to human experience rather than overshadow it. Mercedes engineers still reference the coupe when discussing long-term projects, not because of nostalgia but because it encapsulates a mindset. It shows that perfection is not a finish line but a philosophy of continuous refinement. When the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 re-entered the public eye with its record-breaking sale, it reignited discussion about value, what it means, who defines it, and why certain creations transcend economics. The car's $143 million valuation reflected not indulgence but recognition of its irreplaceability. It is unlikely that another car will surpass it anytime soon because it occupies a unique space in history, a machine built for competition, silenced by conscience, and resurrected for progress. The remaining coupe in Mercedes' care serves as a living artifact. Occasionally displayed in exhibitions, it captivates new generations who marvel at its simplicity, precision, and aura. The moment people stand near it, they sense something beyond technology, a presence that embodies an era's highest ideals. Every surface tells a story, every curve a compromise between aerodynamics and grace. To see it up close is to witness how human hands once shaped the future from sheets of aluminum and courage. As the automotive landscape continues to transform, the influence of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 persists quietly in the background. It guides how engineers think about integrity, how designers view timelessness, and how collectors measure worth. It is the rare creation that transcends its category entirely. It is no longer just a car, it is an idea crystallized in metal, a reminder that progress without purpose is hollow. And that, perhaps, is its greatest contribution, the understanding that the pursuit of excellence is not about domination or excess but about balance, discipline, and respect for what came before. The story of the Uhlenhaut Coupe is not simply about rarity or money, it is about what happens when technology meets humanity at the highest level. And its resonance continues to shape every conversation about what a car can be, even 70 years later. As we reflect on its journey, one truth becomes clear. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 is not a relic of the past, it is a benchmark for the future. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 closes its story as both artifact and aspiration. Few machines in history have carried such weight across time. From its conception as a race car that never competed, to its transformation into the world's most valuable automobile, it represents the entire spectrum of what automotive creation can mean. It was engineered in an era obsessed with speed, halted by tragedy, and later redeemed by purpose. That duality defines its lasting power. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 showed that restraint can be as defining as ambition, that silence, when chosen, can echo longer than victory. Its engine, its form, and its philosophy were built to test limits, yet its true impact came from what it prevented as much as what it achieved. The withdrawal from racing in 1955 turned the company inward, toward safety, toward innovation, and eventually toward the technologies that define modern mobility. Even today, that balance of power and responsibility remains central to Mercedes engineering. The 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe stands as the tangible expression of that principle. It reminds us that excellence is not measured only by performance numbers or price tags but by how a creation endures in meaning. The car's sale for $143 million in 2022 was not an ending but a continuation, a passing of stewardship from one era to another. Its proceeds funded new generations of engineers and thinkers, ensuring that the legacy of ingenuity would keep advancing. In that sense, the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 fulfilled its destiny not on the racetrack but in the world it helped inspire. For those who value design, history, and purpose, its existence is proof that a machine can tell a human story. Every element of its journey invites reflection. How far should technology go? When should ambition pause? What remains when the pursuit of perfection finally meets conscience? These are questions the Uhlenhaut Coupe continues to pose, quietly, decades after its creation. As it rests in the Mercedes collection, immaculately preserved, it remains not a relic but a mirror, reflecting the past while illuminating the future. Few cars will ever achieve that balance, and perhaps none ever should. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe 1955 stands alone, not because it is the fastest or rarest, but because it turned engineering into ethics and speed into soul. Thank you for joining this deep dive into its story. If you enjoyed exploring the world's most extraordinary machines, remember to like, subscribe, and share which automotive legend you want to uncover next.